At exactly 0317 hours on March 21st, 2026, an alarm that had never been triggered before in the history of U.S. Space Force lit up consoles at Buckley Space Force Base, Colorado. 2 Khorramshahr, 4 ballistic missiles, Iran's most advanced long-range strike weapon, had just launched from the Al-Zahra complex east of Shiraz on a trajectory that defied every prior model of IRGC. Capability. Target. Diego Garcia, a joint US-UK military base in the middle of the Indian Ocean, 4,000 kilometers from Iranian soil. The longest ballistic missile attack in IRGC history had just begun. But Iran didn't fire those missiles in isolation. They fired them as a distraction because at that exact moment, 2,500 U.S. Marines aboard the USS Boxer Amphibious Ready Group were 90 nautical miles from Kharg Island and closing. Iran's primary oil export hub, the economic heart of the Islamic Republic. And Iran had spent 72 hours turning every approach vector to that island into a kill zone. What neither the Marines nor their commanders fully knew was the trap beneath the waves. At 03:03 hours 14 minutes before the Diego Garcia launch, IRGC Navy fast boats, operating under acoustic silence, completed deployment of 47 IRDM, 1 influence mines across the northern approach corridor to Kharg. These are not the crude contact mines of earlier generations. The IRDM, 1 detects the specific magnetic, acoustic, and pressure signature of an American amphibious assault ship, preset. Invisible to surface radar, 30 feet below water in near-zero visibility, the Diego Garcia strike was engineered to split Washington's attention at the exact moment the Boxer Group had to make its terminal approach decision. 1 hour remained before the tidal window for a viable landing would close forever. USS The Sullivans, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer patrolling 180 miles south of Diego Garcia, was already tracking both inbound missiles on its SPY-1DV phased array radar. Commander Jason Park gave the intercept order in under 30 seconds. SM-3 Block IIA interceptor cells 14 and 15 launched within 7 seconds of each other, their solid fuel boosters burning white against the black ocean sky. The first intercept was clean. The lead Khorramshahr 4 was destroyed at 127 kilometers altitude. The second missile executed a terminal evasion maneuver, a pre-programmed 4G slalom sequence that US Stratcom had assessed as not yet operationally deployed. It wasn't theoretical anymore. The second SM-3 missed by 340 meters. The Khorramshahr 4 impacted the Diego Garcia Lagoon at Mach 7.8, 620 meters from the main runway. No personnel killed, runway intact. But the message was delivered with seismic precision. No American base on the planet was beyond reach. What do you think Washington should do next? Comment 1 if the Marines press forward. Back in the Gulf, Admiral Diane Corelli aboard USS Boxer did not stop. She made the call that will be studied in war colleges for a generation. Continue the approach, maximum defensive posture, and deal with the mines. She had 60 minutes. 2 MH-53EC Dragon mine-hunting helicopters deployed at 0341, dragging AN/AQS-24C sonar sleds through the approach corridor. 6 minutes later, the contact report arrived. 47 confirmed mines. A dense kill field across the only viable LCAC transit lane. Simultaneously, Iranian shore defenses activated on Kharg's western bluff. 2 Fajr, 2-7 fire control radars came up hot on Growler EW displays, each one feeding targeting data to C-802 Noor anti-ship missile batteries. 16 Noor missiles pre-aimed at the approach corridor. The Boxer Group's ESSM system could handle 8 simultaneous sea skimmers before saturation. Iran had exactly twice that number. At the same time, 12 Shahid 238 jet-powered suicide drones launched from hardened island berms timed to arrive 4 minutes after any Noor salvo, exploiting the CIWS reload gap. 3 layers. Sequential saturation. A cascading death trap. Admiral Corelli had 6 minutes to dismantle all 3. 2 F. 35Cs from USS Carl Vinson released AGM-88G anti-radiation missiles at 0347. These weapons home autonomously on enemy radar emissions. The moment the Iranian operators powered their Fajr-27 systems on, they painted themselves. 4 missiles. 2 batteries destroyed before a single Noor could leave its rail. One surviving battery launched 2 rounds before its radar was killed. Both went ballistic, losing lock, and impacted the water 4 kilometers from Boxer's port quarter. The Shahed drone swarm was engaged by classified directed energy systems integrated into the Boxer group's defensive circle, a capability never used in live combat until this morning. 8 of 12 Shahed 238s were destroyed by directed microwave energy before entering conventional weapons range. The final 4 were killed by RIM-116 rolling airframe missiles. 0 reached the formation. The minefield remained. At 0351 hours, US Navy EOD Mobile Unit 11 operators entered the corridor at dead slow speed in Mark V rigid inflatables. These are among the most specialized warriors in the American military, neutralizing live ordnance in 0 visibility water, with each mine carrying a 500 kilogram-shaped charge capable of breaking the keel of a landing craft. For 44 minutes, in near total silence, they worked. 31 mines neutralized, 16 physically displaced by ROV. A 400-meter navigable lane carved through the kill field just wide enough for an LCAC. At 0433, the first landing craft crossed at 35 knots. Marines from 1st Battalion, 4th Marines hit the Kharg Island pier complex 9 minutes later. The IRGC garrison had partially withdrawn, but 30 Special Forces operators held the terminal building with one mission: destroy the crude oil loading manifolds before U.S. forces arrived. If the manifolds were demolished, Kharg would be inoperable for 6 to 9 months regardless of who held the island. The fight through the pipeline corridors lasted 23 minutes. Marine Sergeant Eduardo Reyes reached the central control room 4 seconds before an IRGC operator could trigger the demolition charge on the main export manifold. Rendered safe at 0521 hours. Kharg Island's infrastructure intact. By 0600 on March 21, 2026, the Marine Corps flag flew over the Kharg terminal complex. Iran's oil artery, the economic lifeline of the Islamic Republic, was in American hands. Within hours, the IRGC threatened strikes on Gulf power infrastructure if export operations resumed. Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and the UAE placed energy facilities on maximum threat status. Brent crude crossed $118 per barrel before trading was suspended. And somewhere in the Indian Ocean, USS The Sullivan's crew was cataloging the debris field from the intercept, trying to reconstruct the terminal maneuver algorithm of a missile that almost made it. Because the Khorram Shah 4 that hit the Diego Garcia lagoon was not Iran's best shot, it was their warning shot. The war was not winding down. It was entering its most dangerous phase. With Kharg seized, Tehran had every reason to escalate in ways that would make the last 3 weeks look like a preliminary engagement. Whether Iranian sleeper cells activate inside Gulf energy infrastructure, whether the IRGC's remaining arsenal reaches for targets in Europe, whether the Marines holding Kharg can hold it, none of that has been decided. The clock is running, and the next 72 hours will define what kind of world we all wake up in. What would you do?